my name is Raja.
Hello everyone, my name is Nashwa.
Hi, my name is Farah Hadi Kusuma.
My name is Muhammad Arabimo Tersono.
Hello, my name is Ardana.
Hi, my name is Calvin.
Hello everyone, my name is Renzo.
Hello, my name is Brianna.
Hi, my name is Elizabeth.
Hello, my name is Permardana Rodipa.
Hi guys, my name is Laura.
My name is Kala Ivana Putri.
Hi, my name is Alianita Nadia.
Hi everyone, my name is Laura.
Hello everyone, my name is Alfred Zamonstandi.
Hello, my name is Renata.
My name is Dana Giva Natadira.
My personal project is starting a coffee shop business.
I've decided to expand my knowledge and skills in fashion by making a set of outfit for a 1/6 scale doll.
My project title is Lose Those Weight.
My personal project is about learning basketball layup and dribble.
And my personal project is Sneakers Invasion. Sneakers Invasion is a social media account that gives education around sneakers.
My personal project is called The Random Thoughts Digital Gallery.
I am making a mixed media artwork, and it is relating to the psychological effect of the pandemic.
The learning goal of my project is to learn how to publish written works that will benefit society, and this goal was achieved by publishing articles on Instagram.
A personal project called e-car that will talk about eco-friendly cars.
And my personal project is titled Teruntuk Gen Z. The goal of my project is to learn how to encourage teenagers, including myself, to find and exercise their growing potential in life.
My personal projects are making clothes, and the design is the combination of 60s fashion and the nowadays fashion.
My project is titled Ways to Art, and my learning goal is to be able to learn on how to create artistic work from plastic waste.
And my personal project is called Project Cikal. My learning goal is to create a children's book, so I have made a self-written, self-illustrated, and self-published children's picture book.
From my personal project, I make the Instagram account named Rizuways. Rizuways is an Instagram account that specifically talk about zero waste program.
My project is called Inside Teenagers' Mind, and my learning goal is to be able to learn teenagers' mental health and how the pandemic has affected their mental health.
And for this year's personal project, I've decided to take my love of drawing and art and challenge myself by making a fully fledged animation with all the steps necessary.
Good morning everyone and welcome to the Personal Project Exhibition Talk or PPX Talk 2022. My name is Naira and I will be the MC for this session. First of all, I would like to thank all of you for joining us in this year's PPX Talk with the theme, The Power of Optimism. Today's event is a celebration of learning that Year 10 students will share with all of the school community members. They have worked very hard in completing their culminating assessment as students of the IB Middle Years program. Before I continue, allow me to explain a little bit more about what the Personal Project actually is. The Personal Project is a mandatory program to get the MYP certificate from the IB. It is a project based on the student's personal interests that is then formulated into a learning goal to be achieved. Personal Project focuses on the development of the caring, impactful, leading, reflective, communicative, and action-oriented dimensions of the 5 stars competencies. Students should follow 3 stages of learning throughout their project, which include planning, applying skills, and reflecting. Through today's PPX Talk, we'll get a more in-depth look of each student's personal projects. They will tell you about their learning goal, their product, the product creation, as well as their reflection. They might also share about the challenges that they faced and how to overcome them. Before we dive right in, I would like to invite Rama Adenarendra Dipa to lead the prayer.
Thank you, Naira. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi, salam sejahtera bagi kita semua. Sejenak mari sama-sama kita tundukkan hati kita, diri kita untuk mengawali PP Exhibition Talk pada pagi hari ini dengan terlebih dahulu berdoa kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin. Wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidil mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah yang Maha Pengasih dan Penyayang, pada hari yang penuh kebahagiaan serta berkah dan rahmat-Mu ini, kami keluarga besar Sekolah Cikal Amri mengadakan Personal Project Exhibition Talk Untuk itu, dengan segala kerendahan hati, kami memohon ampun, memohon kepadamu ya Allah, agar sekiranya personal project exhibition talk kali ini bisa berjalan dengan lancar, dan bisa menjadi pembelajaran, inspirasi, dan motivasi bagi segenap pengunjung yang hadir menyaksikannya. Ya Allah, Tuhan yang maha berilmu, kami sadar bahwa ilmu yang kami miliki sangatlah kurang. Kami sangat membutuhkan tambahan ilmu darimu untuk bekal pengabdian kami, dan menambah kualitas diri kami agar kami menjadi manusia yang berguna dan bermanfaat bagi orang lain. Untuk itu, mohon jadikanlah personal project ini menjadi penyemangat bagi kami untuk bisa membuat project-project berikutnya yang tentu lebih menantang dan lebih bermakna. Ya Allah, Tuhan yang maha mendengar, kabulkanlah doa dan permohonan kami. Hanya kepadamu-lah kami menyembah, dan hanya kepadamu-lah kami memohon pertolongan. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wassallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammadin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajmain. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
All right, thank you, Prabha, for reading the prayer. Now, allow me to invite our school principal to give a few words before we open today's PPX talk session. Everyone, please welcome Ibu Siti Fatimah.
Thank you, Naira. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, students, parents, and teachers. This is really the last session of Personal Project Exhibition Talk of Sekolah Cikal Amri, Jakarta. I'm really proud of the achievement of each student in year 10 of Sekolah Cikal Amri, Jakarta. Personal project itself is more than a personal choices, because at Cikal, one biggest question that our students reflect is the community context and contribution to society. Personal project itself is also more than a project, because at Cikal, another big question that guides our students in their journey is constructive continuity and how their learning connects and builds upon each other. Today, we're celebrating their achievement with all of us at Cikal. Congratulations to Ardana, Laura, Aryo, and Renata. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ibu Sifa, for the wonderful speech. Before I lend our time to today's presenters, I would like to inform everyone that we also uploaded the students' project on our dedicated Instagram account. Please kindly visit us at SEA_PPX_2022. Don't forget to like, share, and comment on the post as well. I would also encourage everyone to write your questions that you have for the presenters in the chat box during the presentations. We will read your during the presentations, because we will read your questions and answer them after all of the presenters have finished their presentations. Today, we will have 4 presenters under the category of Teens Life. We will have Adana, Laura, Rio, and Renata. I hope that everyone will be inspired by what they have learned and what they have done. So, without further ado, please welcome our first presenter, Ardana Wirapramudia, with his project titled Basketball Layup and Dribbling. Ardana, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Naira. So, my name is Ardana Wirapramudia. I have to show you my personal project. My personal project title is Basketball Layup and Dribble. So, this is my learning goal for my project, is to learn to be better at basketball while doing layup and also dribble. And I believe by training with a coach, my basketball skill will improve. And the product is a video of basketball layup and dribble that I posted on YouTube as a tutorial video. And these are my product success criteria. For the first is the form. So I made 2 tutorial video of basketball layup and dribble. And the duration will be 1 minute each, 1 until 2 minutes each, that shows the progress of learning layup and dribble. And the function is to show the progress of my basketball skill to the coach. And also to inform other people, especially teenagers that like basketball, and to inform them the basketball techniques that I use. And the target audience is mainly teenagers between 14 until 17 years old, but it's open to everyone. And these are the process that I've been through of doing my project. The first is I conduct research of how to improve basketball layup and dribble using an article from the internet. And for the second, I conduct interview with the coach about how to improve my skills. And then the coach will conduct a pre-test to me so he can assess my basketball skill. And then a routine basketball training with the coach while taking the video for my product and then post tests after basketball training. And then finally, I edit the video and post it on YouTube. And these are the HL skills that I use. The first is organizational skills. So I create detailed plan for me and then set reminder to train basketball and then train with my basketball coach and also plan many strategies to improve my skills. And for effective skills is I show persistence and try hard when I carry out the plan. And I never give up when things are not going according to plan. And I also apply self-motivation. For the information literacy skills is that I conduct interview with a basketball coach, researching basketball layup and dribble article, and show evidence of my progress to the coach. And for the last HL skill that I use is communication skills. Is inform effectively to the basketball coach when there's a problem, and take notes about my training, and also organize the process and the result in an effective way. And these are the reflection. Before the project, I only have limited experience at interviewing a person, but during the project, I know how to ask the right question to the coach. I also understand how to research an article correctly and finding useful information for my personal project. I also understand how to edit video, and in my opinion, the video is too short. I think a tutorial video needs to be 2 until 3 minutes, but only make 1 until 2 minutes for each of my video. And these are the products that I posted on YouTube, the videos. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you. And if you have any question, you can write your question on the chat box. I'll answer it on the Q&A session. Naira, back to you.
All right, thank you, Arena, for the amazing presentation and project. Let us move on to the second speaker of the session, Cecilia Laura Putri Budiana, with her project called Teruntuk Gen Z. A very interesting title from the start. Laura, the stage is yours.
Thank you, Naira. Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Laura and my personal project is titled Teruntuk Gen Z. Teruntuk Gen Z is a personal project to learn how to encourage teenagers to find and exercise their growing potential in life, with aspects focused on their personal, mental, and social skill. So this personal project was derived from a personal interest of mine, which was encouraging others, an action that had made my life both meaningful and happy. And I guess I can link this back actually to a past project. So I had a PYP project when I was in grade 5. And in that project, along with my friends, the end goal itself was providing a platform of encouragement, which was for our brothers and sisters with disabilities. And at that time, we made an art fair and also a public website to help support their artworks. And that is basically the core of my personal interest. Right, so moving on to maybe a background story of my project itself. So throughout my school years, or maybe my years living here, I have acknowledged 3 life skills that I find to be important or significant. And these are personal skill, mental skill, and social skills. I believe that it is very relevant for us to apply in real life, like no matter what our occupation is, whether we are a student or a teacher or maybe in the future later on when we have to make ends meet, we have to apply these skills to get by. And furthermore, I also observed how experiences encountered by my peers and I spoke of struggles in developing our potential in areas where those skills are practiced. And those skills are the 3 life skills, the personal skill, the mental skills, and the social skills. This usually stems from the lack of confidence or the sense of comfortability from the resources that are available, or even the lack of understanding concerning the approaches that can be taken to develop our growing potential. Maybe an example would be one of my friends who actually wanted to improve her public speaking skills and problem solving skills, and that can be done in a lot of ways, of course. You can do that probably by joining the Model United Nations, for example, but maybe he or she at that moment does not have the confidence for that yet, and maybe they're not prepared. They want to try something else, maybe an alternative approach to actually exercise their skills. And that is basically what my project aims to do, which is to provide a platform of encouragement in relevant to the situation. Right, so my product is a public speaking and presentation skills interactive webinar session that provides interactive activities as a main agenda. So not only does it exercise all three skills, it is also a lifelong skill that I and others may feel personally challenged with. So the key points of the session includes first a speaker, which is the expert, and for this case, my expert is Pa Arju, an English teacher here at Sekolah Cikal. And the second one is a host, which I took it upon myself to be my role. So I tried to challenge myself by taking that role. A presentation material, which includes all the learning experiences about public speaking and presentation skills. And the last one is 4 interactive activities, which is the main point of the session itself. And next one is the overview of the 3 focus skills so you can understand what I mean better by personal skills, mental skills, and social skills. So for personal skills, we have motivation, dependability, teamwork, goal setting, and problem solving. For mental skills, we have a positive attitude, motivation, concentration, people skills, goals, and commitment. For social skills, we have empathy, verbal and written communication, non-verbal communication, active engagement, and following directions. Right, and this is my product success criteria for the form. It is held through Zoom Pro since Zoom Pro has a lot of abilities and features, and it also enables us to do meetings longer than 40 minutes, which is needed since this is an interactive webinar session, and it would also require an expert of reliable academic background. Since my session aims to provide an educational experience for my audiences, which are the teenagers, I need the expert to be someone reliable. So maybe a professor, a teacher, or a specialist in that area. And the topic covers the 3 skills. That is also really important. It has a presentation of the relevant layout to make it easy for the audience to follow. It has a duration of around 30 until 75 minutes, and definitely it has interactive activities. For the purpose, it is to encourage teenagers, and what I mean by encourage is to give them support and confidence. And it should also provide chance for discussion, tasks, and challenges so that the teenagers can actually exercise their skills, raise active engagement, and also record the experience, evaluation, and reflection of the participants via a Google form. The audience would be Gen Z, of course, from my project title. I think that's pretty obvious, but middle until high school students aged 13 until 17. And it would be really great if it's not limited to only Sekolah Cikal and has approximately 15 until 45 participants attending. For the cost, so should cost be needed, it would be ideally under 1.500.000. And for Zoom Pro membership, it would be 213 per month. Right, so moving on to the product creation process. For the first step, we have the research and evaluation. So first of all, I would definitely have to research the topic, and I relied on both primary and secondary sources for this. For primary sources, I interviewed Pa Arju, my expert, about public speaking and presentation skills. And for secondary sources, I relied on the internet, basically. So from videos, from articles, from websites. Then I would also search for the interactive activities that relates to the topic. Then I would do some evaluations using the OPVL method to really select the right sources and assess the credibility of the sources I chose. And the next one would be paraphrasing. So since I have 2 sources of information, one is primary and one is secondary, I needed to conclude it into one legitimate information. And that's why I need to paraphrase those informations and combine the main ideas so that it's not plagiarized. Right. And the second step is the material developments. And this is where the collaboration process really go by. So I made a collaboration document for me and my expert. And this is where we worked on a lot of the most important things. For example, the outline and then the rough time allocation. for each segments, and this is where we actually give comments and feedbacks about the materials that are to be presented in the interactive webinar session itself. And of course, I made an Instagram account not as my product but as a medium to promote my interactive webinar session. And this is basically where I just introduce my project, then I introduce the expert, and this is where I also put the link of the registration form and the 3-in-1 post-survey form, which is used for assessing my product. And the last step is material finalizations. This is where we develop and finalize the presentation material. And for this step, I utilized Canva because I'm very familiar with it. It's the easiest option to use as of right now because we can track the progress in real time and my expert can see it at any time too. So we picked that, and we had technical briefings, which consist of us reviewing the time allocation, the technicalities such as, for example, for this segment, who will share the screen and what screen will be shared and who is the speaker and everything like that. So we made sure to review that. And of course, we had clean and dirty rehearsals to do a run through of the session before the session itself. For dirty rehearsals, we mainly focused on doing some brief run-throughs for each segments. And this is the period of time where we gave like feedbacks to each other. And in the clean rehearsals, we finally had a full run-through from the beginning to the end after having some individual practices after receiving the feedbacks from the dirty rehearsals. And the last stage is, of course, the promotions. I promoted my project and through my Instagram account, and I also sent like broadcast messages to my friends through WhatsApp and also through email to respective homeroom teachers. And here are some pictures or evidences that basically sums up all of the product creation process. This is my interview with Pa Arju, and this is also the interactive activity research, the paraphrasing skills, and this is the collaboration document, the Instagram account, the presentation material, and also a snippet of when we had the clean rehearsals. Yeah, okay. Right, so this is just an additional thing, but I also initiated the creation of the Board of Impressions. So to celebrate this event, the Board of Impressions was derived from the participants' personal experience in the session, which is, of course, after having received content, and you can check us out at Teruntuk Gen Z on Instagram to see how the audience thinks of my interactive webinar session. So if you would, you can check that out. Right, so the challenges I personally faced, okay, the first one I believe is a universal thing, but definitely time management. It's almost always present throughout my whole personal project process, and the effects of it is I do work last minute and I do work at nighttime, like at around 10 or 11 p.m., which is really past peak productivity stage, and I would have piled up tasks. And some strategies to overcome it is basically organizing an ideal workplace. That means cleaning up my room and avoiding all distractions, taking breaks when needed, self-reward, and put reminders. And the second one would be unfamiliar situations. This is when unexpected and unfavorable situations happened at the peak of my project, basically when things don't go as my timeline would suggest. That includes not arriving at the expected outcome of the project stage, last-minute changes, and emergency revisions. And the strategies that I did to overcome it is constructing a new strategy to face those situations and giving my best efforts. Fingers crossed. Right, so my personal reflection and evaluation. So definitely I have learned a lot throughout this personal project. It was definitely a really challenging ride, but I'm really glad that I did this personal project because I did receive a lot of knowledges such as public speaking and presentation skills itself, how I host a webinar session, creating proper proposals, and so on. And for evaluation, after assessing my product with the product success criteria, I believe it has met an adequate grade or result. So it ranges like from around 7 until 6. Right, some improvements I would make, looking back at my project, I would definitely try to make a wider range of interactive activities, do technical briefings on time, reach a wider audience such as maybe middle school students, and improve my time management skills. And here's an addition, which is the ADL skills. Of course, I had made improvements on the ADL skill, which is research. During my research process, I've improved at selecting the right sources from the frequent usage of the OPVL evaluation method. And I would also improve my ADL skill, which is communication, which is when I had to conclude informations from both primary and secondary sources. I have improved my paraphrasing skills, so I don't really have to rely on Quillbot again. And improvement on IB learner profile attribute. So when facing a challenging situation during my project, I believe that I've made improvements on one of the IB learner profile attributes, namely risk taker. And I guess that's it for my presentation. Thank you so much. And if you guys have any questions, you can write them down in the comments. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Laura, for the presentation. That was an awesome project. Moving on, let me invite our third presenter of the day, Muhammad Aryo Bimo Wicaksono, to share about his personal project titled Building a Healthy Life. Rio, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Naira. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rio, and today I'm going to present to you my personal project titled Building a Healthy Lifestyle. So, my learning goal is to learn how to have build a healthy lifestyle. Since I was a kid, I was so into building a healthier lifestyle, but I've been losing motivation to do it. So, when my time in year 10 and personal project came, I decided to create a learning goal that can help me achieve a healthier lifestyle, which is to learn how to have or build a healthier lifestyle by having a balanced portions of diet, exercise, and rest. By making it into my learning goal, I hope that it can help me to achieve my healthier lifestyle and build up my motivation. For the product, after a long discussion with many people, including my parents, my friends, teachers, and many others, I've decided to make a video series of me trying to achieve a healthier lifestyle. I will record myself every day, starting from the time when I woke up until the time when I go back to sleep during the night. I will also showcase my daily routines, including my breakfast, exercises, rest, habits, lunch, dinner, nap, and many other things. I will also use a software called iMovie to edit my product. There are product assessment that I will assess my product, and the first one is form. The video that I will create will consist of workouts, routines, diets, and also showcasing different good habits. The second one is the video should consist of multiple types of workouts and not just one, so it will be more effective. And also the video should be 2 to 10 minutes long. The purpose of my product is to learn how to build a healthier lifestyle. So in order to complete my learning goals, I also need ATL skills. ATL skills. ATL skills. I decided to take research skills to achieve my learning goal. In the research skills, I will be interviewing people who might know about the stuff, such as personal trainer, PE teacher, and many more, which in this case, I interviewed one of my PE teachers, Pa Agus, to gain knowledge about how to build a healthier lifestyle and about certain types of workouts that I can do. I also need to do some research in order to broaden up my knowledge and also how research skills to improve my video editing skills. There are also ATL skills to achieve my product, which is communication skills. The video needs to be understandable and also efficient. And of course, I will showcase different types of workouts. Here are the process log. So when I first decided on the goal, I do research and interviewing people to burn up my knowledge and also understanding about how to build a healthier lifestyle, such as different types of workouts, what kind of diets that I can use, and also some good habits that I need to do. Uh, After doing some research and interviewing people, I start making an action plan to create my products such as making a detailed plan log and also making an exercise log. Uh, After doing that, I start recording scenes by scenes every day until 4 weeks. And after that, I compile all of them into a folder and start the editing process. The editing process took around 2 weeks or more. And after 2 weeks, I start finalizing the product and upload it to my YouTube. As for the reflection, there are actually things that I need to change during my product. The first one is before I say that I'm gonna create a video series, well, uh, I decided to change it into one video that consists of 4 weeks material or scenes, you could say. The reason for this is because I think that by making it into a video series, it kind of feels repetitive and inconvenient. So I decided to only make one video that consists of 4 weeks worth of scenes. The second thing that I changed is that I will not include any diet plans, unfortunately. The reason for this is because at that time when I was recording the scenes, I don't feel comfortable, or you could say at that time I was sick, so I'm not able to do any diet plans. So, what is the impact of my learning goal and product to me personally? From this project, I actually learned a lot of things, such as, again, of course, building a healthy lifestyle and how to keep myself in shape. I also learned many other useful knowledge from my researching process and interviewing process. And until now, I sometimes still do this daily routine. And yeah, it worked out very well and I love it. So overall, I think that doing this project has given me so many good advantages and provided me with so many different skills. This is my glows and grows. There are the glows, which is the things that I like about my product, is the camera angle. I think that I'm really impressed with the way I set up my camera angle, set my camera angle so that it can showcase like di- different angles. But there also grows, which is my editing skills. I think that it is too simple and it can be improved, such as I can use more complex types of editing styles. And yeah, and the second one is my form during my exercise. I think that my form during my exercises can be improved by a lot. And yeah, I hope that when I have the chance to do exercise again, which is probably later, I can learn how to fix my form and do it better. Thank you. Thank you for listening. And if you have any questions, please write it down below in the comment section. I will answer it later in the Q&A section. Back to you, Naira.
Thank you, Rio. The next person is the last speaker for this session. Let us give a warm welcome to Renata Helena Putri Aryadipa with her project called Inside Teenagers' Mind. But before that, just a quick reminder, we will continue with the Q&A session when Renata has finished her presentation. So please write your questions down in the chat box so we can proceed directly to the Q&A session. Renata, the stage is all yours.
Okay, thank you, Naira. Hello, everyone. My name is Renata Harlina Putri, and today I will be presenting my personal project called Inside Teenagers' Mind. So, my learning goal is that I want to be able to learn teenagers' mental health and the impact of the pandemic to teenagers' mental health. And since I was in 8th grade, I've always been interested in psychology, especially mental health, and I've always enjoyed helping people and listening to people. So this is my product. Um, I decided to create something that relates to my interest, psychology, by creating a podcast that can be useful for others and that is able to share people's experiences during this pandemic in a different point of view. So, my product is a podcast that consists of 3 episodes. The first episode is Life as a Teenager During Pandemic. I interviewed and have a conversation with a teenager about mental health during the pandemic. And the second episode is Minding Your Mental Health During the Pandemic. I interviewed a psychologist or an expert and have a discussion with the expert about teenagers' mental health during the pandemic. And for the last episode, I talk about the conclusion from the other 2 episodes and talk about how it really implements teenagers' mental condition nowadays. So here's my criteria of success. For the form, the podcast consists of 3 episodes. The duration of each episode will be at least 20 minutes. And I edit the podcast using iMovie. And the podcast contained an interview with a psychologist and teenager. And the last episode will contain of talking about the conclusion from the other 2 episodes. So the purpose of this podcast is to be able to know how teenagers are feel during the pandemic in different point of views and to also share other experiences and how they cope with the pandemic. And for the audience, since I will promote my podcast on Instagram, mostly the audience is teenager and social media users. So my product criteria of success, the first step, I conducted a survey to get the information that I needed because my project required me to interview a teenager for my podcast. And I needed to do some research into what exactly teenagers are going through during the pandemic. And to do so, I conducted a survey and was able to determine who would be the best to be interviewed for my podcast. And also, the purpose of this survey is to understand teenagers' mental health and the condition during the pandemic. And after I conducted the survey, I read the responses from the survey and I decided who I want to interview. And before I interviewed the teenager and the expert, I also had some briefing before really record the podcast and has some discussion so the podcast will run smoothly as planned. And after I started to record the podcast with the teenager and the expert, and after recording, I began to edit the podcast and publish the podcast on YouTube. So, after completing my product, I learned that the pandemic has really affected teenagers' mental health, and I can see it from different point of view. Also, I learned some tips and tricks of how to control and handle stress and many more. I would say that I created a successful product by, according to the feedback, this podcast make people open their mind about what's really happening to teenagers' mental health during the pandemic. And many people are unaware about this issue. And by making this podcast, people have become more aware of this issue. And also, this podcast helped many teenagers that are going through the same situation by after listening to the podcast, many teenagers felt they are not alone going through this and really helped them cope with the pandemic. And while making the project, I faced some challenges to complete my project. And one of the challenges was managing my time because I also had to manage my time between this personal project and schoolwork. And also, at some time during the interview, I had some difficulties in order with I have to manage my conversation and keep in the flow so I can improve more on my interviewing. Also, I learned that making a podcast is not as easy as I thought it would be. Like, it needs more practice and need a good communication skills. So that's all for my presentation. Thank you so much for listening and feel free to ask questions in the chat box.
All right, thank you, Renata, for the presentation, and what an awesome project. Now, I would like to invite all presenters to be spotlighted for the Q&A session. We've listened to their stories in completing their projects, so let's go straight to your questions for them. While waiting for the questions, I want to ask Renata, why did you specifically target teenagers for your project?
A few of my friends and I like to have a conversation together, like sharing our thoughts and difficulties during the pandemic. And the reason why I chose teenagers specifically is that, firstly, because I'm a teenager myself. And based on what I have observed, this pandemic has like really affected teenagers' mental health. And from this project, I can relate to some of their story and experiences too.
All right, thank you. We actually have a question in the comments here from Natki. Question for Arena. What advice would you give to someone who's learning basketball? Arena?
Just keep practicing basketball, and maybe don't give up when things are not going to plan. And if you have a coach, well, ask him how to improve your skills. Yeah. Or watch videos from YouTube.
All right, thank you for answering the question. I also have a question for Laura. Why did you decide to do an interactive webinar session on your product, and what have you gained during that process?
Thank you for the question, Naira. I think I have two reasons for why that is. First of all, I think it is also one of my personal interests actually. So I've actually been growing up and looking at my sister, and she's always been moderating webinars, and I always found it fascinating. And I've always tried to like keep up with webinars, but I didn't really have the time to. And I believe like it's also a great way to really improve your public speaking skills by actually being a host. So throughout my process of doing the interactive webinar session itself, I have improved my public speaking skills, and I was able to actually took on the role of being a host.
That's great to hear. I have one last question for Rio. What do you think other people can learn from your personal project?
Thank you for the question again. I think that other people can learn how to build their own motivation by seeing my video, because I personally believe that if I can do it, I believe that other people can. So
That's great to hear. Thank you for the questions, and thank you for answering the questions, presenters. All right, so that brings us to the end of our PPX talk for the last session. A big thank you to Ardena, Laura, Rio, and Renata for sharing your experiences. All of the presentations and all of the projects were very refreshing and inspiring to hear. Congratulations! Thank you all for joining us in the session and also for the past 2 days. We hope the information is helpful and inspirational to everyone watching. Once again, don't forget to visit our Instagram account at SCA_PPX_2022. Thank you everyone, and see you in the next personal project exhibition. Bye!